Okay, in this assignment here, this is a skill we need to develop. Rewrite the equation so you know the slope, okay? See, when you have to graph an equation, the y has to be by itself. This is all about the y today, getting the y by itself. So, by the way, if you have a minus, okay, hold on a second. So, it's all about the y. So mark your y multiplier, and if it's got a minus in front of it, you want to make it plus negative because that's a negative, okay? Now circle that. Now, since that is a negative multiplier to the y, you need to apply what's known as the opposite rule. That means you need to make this negative 5 a positive, not a plus negative, a positive, a clear-cut positive. But in order to do that, you have to make the other two terms in the equation the opposite as well. So that goes to a negative 4, and that goes to a negative 10. Now, we'll divide by the 5, but first we have to take out the negative 4x on that side. So we would plus 4x. But I look over here and I don't see an x. See, 10 doesn't have an x, so I can't add the 4x under the 10. So I create my own number that is multiplied by x in the form of a 0x. Then I add 4x there. So you line up your equation and you have 5 times y. Now you have to do your x's first. That's going to be 4x, and then you put the plus negative 10. Now, y is still not by itself. We still got the multiplier. Well, we get rid of multiplication with division. Now, so what I do is I underline each one of these and put 5. Here's the deal. 4 divided by 5 is a decimal. I don't want to see decimals, so I leave it as 4/5. 4/5 x. Negative 10 divided by 5 is not a decimal, it's an integer, and it's negative 2. Now the y is by itself, and I have my m and b right there. Okay, y equals mx plus b. Okay, my next problem, we have negative 3x plus 7y equals 14. Remember, it's all about the y. So y multiplied by 7. Now, that 7 right there is a positive 7, so I'm going to put a check mark. That means I don't need to do the opposite rule. So I have to take out the negative 3x with a plus 3x, and I go over here, but it can't go with 14 because 14 doesn't have x, so I make my own x term using 0. You have to use 0, so you plus 3x. So we have 7 times y. Don't put the 14 first, you put the x first, so 3x plus 14. Then I divide these all by 7. And if the division comes out into a decimal, I leave it as a fraction. So it's going to be 3/7 x. 14 divided by 7 is an integer, plus 2. Okay, now you're good. Y is by itself with the mx, m times x plus b on the other side. Okay, x minus y equals negative 6. Okay, so here's y. Its multiplier would be a 1, okay, and it's a minus, so it would be a plus negative 1. Okay, now apply a 1 to the x, so you see what coefficient it has, but you don't want that negative, okay? So you make it positive, not plus negative, positive, okay? Just clear cut positive. Then the 1x here has to turn into its opposite, negative, and the negative 6 turns into its opposite of positive. It's the opposite rule. It means you switch everything to the opposite. If you have a positive, it's going to go negative. If you have a negative, it's going to go positive. And that's all for the purposes of making that y multiplying number a positive. So I plus 1x, and I make a 0x, and I plus 1x there. So we got 1 times y. Do your x's, 1x plus 6. Now you can divide everything by 1, but it just stays. If your multiplier is 1, you can really just drop it, okay? 1 divided by 1 is 1x plus 6, okay? MB. Okay, 2x minus 3y equals 6. Okay, it's all about the y. So y, that's a multiplication. It'd be a plus negative right there. Highlight the multiplier, and you have to again do the opposite rule. Okay, so a negative, a positive, and a negative. Okay, so negative 2x, we will add 2x. And then we don't have an x over there, so I make a 0x. Because I can't add it to negative 6. Negative 6 is not multiplied by x, the 2 is. So we have 3 times y. 0 plus 2 is 2x plus a negative 6. Now divide all of these by your 3. If it is a decimal, if the division gives me a decimal, I leave it as a fraction. 2/3 x plus negative 2. Okay, and you got your m and your b. Okay, mx plus b. Okay, next page. 6x minus 5y equals 10. Okay, so it's all about the y. So the multiplier on the y is a 5. It's a negative 5. You got to apply the opposite rule. So I make that positive. It's positive 5 now. But then the 6 goes opposite. It's positive. It goes to a negative. 10 outside, that goes from a positive to a negative. You can do that in an equation, okay? You can totally do that as long as you do it to every term you have. So I'd add 6x. I'm not seeing an x, so 0x, and then plus 6x. So it's going to be 6x plus negative 10. Now divide everything by your 5. Okay, 6 divided by 5 gives me a decimal, so it's 6/5 x. Negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. So MB, if I had to graph that, that'd be the slope, that'd be the y-intercept. Okay, negative 4x plus 3y equals 6. Okay, so here's the y, it's multiplied by a 3. Okay, positive 3, that's good. So you can check that, and we don't need to do the opposite. You don't just do the opposite on every problem, because you want that positive. If it's already positive, I don't make these opposite then. So I would add the 4x, I would create a 0x, and add a 4x. So 3 times y, that would give me a 4x plus a 6. Then I divide these all by 3. And now we have solved for y. 4 divided by 3 is a decimal, so 4/3 plus 2. Okay, and you got your m and your b right there. Okay, negative 5x plus 2y equals 12. So here's y. It's multiplied by a 2. It's positive 2, so no opposite. So we plus 5x, make a 0x, and plus 5x. So 2 times y gives me 5x plus 12. Now divide this all by 2. 5 divided by 2 is a decimal, so I'll leave that as 5/2x, 5/2 x. 12 divided by 2 is 6, okay? So there's your m, there's your b. It's the same equation, I'm just rewriting it. Negative 6x plus 2y equals negative 6. So here's y, multiplier of 2, it's positive 2. Okay, if it's a minus in front of it, it's a negative 2. So check, no opposite rule necessary. Plus 6x, and then I make a 0x and plus 6x there. So 2 times y, that's going to be 6x plus the negative 6. Okay, do your x first. Divide everything by 2. Now 6 divided by 2 is an integer, it's 3x, so I put that down. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. So